Welcome back to the Winded Podcast. I'm your host, Seamus Sullivan. A very special show today. But if you are not subscribed already, make sure you're following on Spotify, YouTube, Apple, Amazon. Follow the Instagram at Winded Pod, and you can find me on TikTok at Seamus_Sullivan. But let's get right into our guest today. Very excited. I've been wanting to talk to a figure skater since the Olympics. Got somebody to come on, and it's been worth the wait for sure. She's got a great story to tell, and she's got a great background, which includes being a 6-time U.S. national championship competitor, a 4-time United States figure skating gold medalist, worked in pairs and as an ice dancer, and then also does is an ice girl for the Dallas Stars. So we'll touch on that, and then has transferred into coaching. So teaches figure skating and hockey skating skills. Today on the show is Hilary Asher. How you doing, Hilary?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Of course. No, Hilary, it's a pleasure. I am just so excited. You've had such a great career, and we are kind of talking before we started recording that, you just said you feel like you've lived a life in this world, and I'm so excited to get you an opportunity to talk about it.
I'm excited to share it.
So, figure skating obviously is, compared to other like team sports, is really it's intense. It starts young, and even the career shelf life is much shorter. But why don't you start how you kind of got into skating in the first place, and when you knew that you were kind of on the rise and you had this, it wasn't just a hobby; it was something that you were going to take pretty far.
Yeah. So I was in a play group as a kid, and that's just a bunch of other kids your age, and we would do group classes and baseball and figure skating and gymnastics, soccer, you name it. And I remember, actually, I can't even say I remember. I just know that I put on my first pair of skates when I was like 5, and all I wanted to do was come back to the ice rink, and like the rest is history.
So, did you put on your first skates? Was that for figure skating or hockey, or did you do both?
It was just figure skating. It was just solely figure skating, and for 17 years after that, competitively.
And so, at what point did you kind of realize, like, oh, I'm actually, not to put anyone else down, but I'm better than the people that I'm around. And I'm gonna, I need to be in a spot where I'm with people that are kind of at my level and really start to compete at, that more national stage.
I don't think I ever had that feeling of competitiveness. It was just always, what can I do more of? I mean, I love a good sense of competition, but I know as a kid, I got to look up to Olympians now that I just, practiced with on the rink. And before they were famous and Olympians, I was like, I want to do that spin. I want to learn how to do that. I want to skate to this song and feel free and be happy. And so that's what propelled me to progress pretty quickly, I would say.
I mentioned that you worked in pairs and then also did, ice dancing on your own. Did you have kind of a preference, or did you like having the balance of both?
Well, I guess this kind of goes back to your previous question of like what kind of got you into as well. I've always been small. Like I'm 5'1" now and I'm 24. I loved when people would pick me up as a kid, and then that really transferred into pair skating. So pair skating is the discipline with the really tall lifts and then throwing the girl across the ice. That was like my love and passion, and I was always like a daredevil. I was always seeking the adrenaline, and I did pairs for about 8 years.
There's definitely a level of fearlessness, I feel like, that has to go with, especially in the pairs when it comes to, putting your trust in someone else to kind of, keep you safe and but also kind of push the envelope. Um, is that something you always had? Was just that kind of you were like you said, a daredevil?
100%. And I feel like you as an athlete can also reflect your personality and just your character. And I feel in myself that I kind of give trust willingly unless you show me otherwise. And I just thought, with my partners, why would they ever want to drop me too? I mean, that's points off for both of us. Uh, and it was just fun. I was like, okay, now lift me. And he'd be like, yeah, okay.
I did go back and watch some of your clips with the partners and just some of the stuff that you were able to do. It's just insane. I grew up as a hockey player and I, can skate pretty well and but it's always blades on the ice. Anytime I'm up in the, even jumping over a stick that's on the ice, I'm like, this is too much. I'm not taking any, and that's with full pads. So to be out there and be that high up in the air and no equipment, no anything, and figure skates are just a totally different animal. Um, I just couldn't imagine having that level of fearlessness.
It was like the mix between figure skating and gliding across the ice, doing tricks and then performing the tricks in the air. And that's what really made you feel like you were defying gravity. And it was just something out of this world.
I just don't even understand. Like even seeing like some training videos of figure skaters off the ice, just the physics of being able to spin your body around that many times without, you obviously you get some air, but like you're not like 10 feet off the ground. You're close to the ground still, and just to be able to spin around like that is just amazing.
It is truly incredible the physics that go into it, but there is a sense of feeling powerful and that body awareness you get when you're like, okay, I have to time it correctly. I have to time it with my partner. We have to work together as a team. And our timing has to be so perfect. And that's what's going to get me vaulted into the air as high as I can go. And then just using the forces in your muscles and that strength to twist you in the air on a 45-degree 3 times and then just know when to come out and nailing that skill. And I am describing a triple twist. There's just something so powerful behind it as an athlete.
It's truly incredible, and it's unfortunate that it takes every 4 years for figure skating to get that level of attention like that it got, a couple months ago. And it is, I feel like for the winter games, it is the event that really just kind of captures everybody's attention. And it's like, why can't this carry on throughout the rest of the year more? And I'm sure, like some of the invitationals or the stuff that happen shortly after get, a pop and stuff, but I do feel like it's something that should get more attention throughout the year.
Percent. I mean, I have my own opinions on it. Uh, I do wish like it were just promoted better. I mean, the sport, I will say it's extremely confusing to follow along with the scoring now. Back in the day, I want to say like the 90s, there was a 6.0 system, and that was pretty straightforward. You had 1 out of 6 points, and then you had like 6 judges on the panel, not seven. And now it's called the IJS system, and it's just broken up between two types of scoring. The second score is performance, the artistry, uh, grade of execution, also known as the GOE. And then the other side is the technical, scoring each element individually and then really broken down into details. So it's very hard to follow if you don't.
No, for sure. It's one of those things where, to a casual, viewer, when you watch it, it all looks amazing and it all looks so impressive. Unless somebody, totally wipes out, it's tough to kind of differentiate like who was the best, aside from picking your favorite, or somebody did like a certain routine that, stood out to you. But to the casual viewer, it definitely does look like. But I think that should, I mean, maybe from a wanting to know who wins thing, that makes it more challenging. But from a viewing perspective, it's like, this is all awesome. This is all great. This is inspiring and just, so difficult. And I don't think people realize how difficult it is.
Absolutely. I mean, if anyone watched the Olympics and is listening to this now, I mean, you could have seen a routine where they nailed everything and then another routine that looked pretty good too, and they won. And you're thinking, how is that possible? This team looked like they nailed everything. Well, it's all in each element itself, you know. Did they rotate enough times in a spin? Did they rotate 8 revolutions in one position and then a minimum of whatever in the next position that they did to get a fully rounded spin?
Let's talk about your competitive career. Listed off some of the many accomplishments that you had in your career. But what was it like just kind of being on that stage of competing with, some of the best or the best skaters in the country at any given point at these events that you were going to?
It felt amazing. I mean, the figure skating community is a very tight knit one, so you ended up knowing kind of like everybody, and you would just see friends from all over the country come, you know, to North Carolina or somewhere cold and, and they would be all different levels, and it just felt like, wow, I am part of this. I worked my butt off to get here, and it's just also worth it now. And we get to see the best of the best. I am more specifically talking about like nationals or an international. You have to really work your way out from some competitions to this big one.
Yeah, it truly is just impressive, and some of the people that you skated with or have kind of grew up with were in Milan and having a great run. Why don't you talk about some of the friends that you had, and did you go to Milan? Did you get to go to the Olympics?
I did get to, and I got to go as a viewer, but you know what? I wouldn't have had it any other way now.
What was it like seeing them out on that stage and being able to be there and support them in person?
It was incredible. I mean, I'll start from the beginning. Danny O'Shea, we grew up in Chicago, Illinois, or so like that Buffalo area, and I knew him when he had hair. Incredibly kind person all the way through. And then to see him like still competing and get to go with Ellie Cam. She's an awesome girl, an awesome athlete as well. And to see them win a gold was it felt very full circle. Like I saw where he started, and then I moved to Texas. I want to say in 2010, and Amber Glenn was my very first friend. We go way back to Stonebriar, and I knew her when she was a juvenile and winning every single competition. I mean, we've been teammates for almost a decade, I would say, when she lived in Texas.
That's incredible. Yeah, I mean, Amber had obviously a great run you know, with just the whole Blade Angels and everything was just, it's so great to see like the personalities come through. That's my favorite part of the Olympics is kind of this introduction to people that, obviously you've been in that world, these people, but for the rest of the world to kind of see, people that are special like that, like Alyssa Liu, like Amber Glenn, like Isabeau, like it's just great to see kind of them get that attention and to really just like capture the hearts of America, really.
Yeah, I mean, it was really cute with that they came out with kind of this like Angel Charlie's Angels rendition. I think they did a really great job of showing off what it's like to be a very competitive world class figure skater and still be friends with your teammates. Because honestly, at the end of the day, you are competing against yourself. It's not the other girls. And it's a privilege to rise with them. So I think that was, I'm really happy for them. I'm so sorry. Do you want me to turn off my, do you
Sure.
hear?
It's okay. It's okay.
Okay, it's annoying me. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm so sorry.
No worries at all. It's all good. So figure skating itself is such a, physically demanding sport, but mentally as well. Um, how do you how do you balance kind of the mental aspect of it? Like obviously, the prime example, Alyssa Liu kind of lost the love for the sport and stepped away, kind of had to reset and came back, but with a different approach. How did you handle like the mental pressure of competing at that level?
It was extremely hard, and it's something that I don't think was ever talked about enough, and even in like just the normal real world as well. Um, I mean, I really started struggling with it when I was 15, 16 years old, and I didn't understand it. And they're just like, I didn't know that there were resources. And of course, I would say, well, I don't say of course, but my other teammates, it just wasn't really talked about. And you just felt these internal struggles, and it was all very confusing. And you felt like you were truly a world in an already very isolating world. So I would say I had to do a lot of self discovery. And I think it's really amazing that Alyssa Liu was able to step away from it on her own terms and maybe have some other support and resources to get her on a path that she felt happiest and most fulfilled.
Yeah, and you got to think that, being able to clear her head and kind of be at her best mentally is a huge part of why she was able to be so successful this go around. Completely embracing who she is and really kind of listening to her body, listening to her mind, and taking care of it.
Yeah, I'm going to be really honest with you. What she's been able to do is like just pioneering. It's kind of unheard of to ever retire and then come back. I mean, I know Deanna, who skates for Team Canada and a pair skater, she did the same, and she's a god for doing that. But to overcome the struggles of figure skating and as a single skater that Alyssa is, and then I'm not I'm not fully sure what she I think she lived a very normal life, and that's amazing. And then to have this mindset of I just want to skate for the love of it, and I want to go back into competing but not compete. That is the reason why she was able to put out the best performances of her life. And I'll tell you, she didn't even look tired. She just floated across that ice, and those programs are long. I mean, they're 4.5 minutes long. So to reach that level of enlightenment is a game changer for not just the figure skating competitive scene, but any other sport. And if you do it competitively.
Yeah, I don't think she's stopped since the Olympics. I think she's still going, and I don't know when she has had a chance to sleep because it seems like every other day she's popping up doing something. And but it's great to see her just kind of living it to the fullest, and hopefully it kind of has the U.S. figure skating and just everyone involved opens their eyes that like there needs to be a balance and there needs to be some give and take with the athletes. And she's a prime example of when you let them be their best self, this is what you get out of it instead of, you know, running people into the ground and scaring people away that could be, you know, gold medal competitors. Hopefully it changes things.
Yeah. I think that's the future that we're headed towards, and it's been really amazing to see the progression come from the athletes itself. You hope to see it from coaches and, the adults running the show. I think Alyssa's coaches were very supportive of her, and that's, why where she is because of that. Um, but also like Amber Glenn, Isabeau, and Alyssa, like they're a great example of just support, being humans, and progressing the sport in not just physical ways like triple axles and quads, but also a more healthy sense of you want to come back to the rink. I didn't want to come back to the rink after I retired. All I did was coach. I found it impossible and extremely the hardest mental block to go and skate for fun.
Yeah, I can totally see that. Is in your coaching and your trainings and stuff, is the mental health part of it, is that, do you work that into your program? Is that something that you help to be kind of a resource for?
Absolutely. It is the sole purpose of why I coach. I have a mission statement. It's that I want all of my skaters, hockey or figure skating, doesn't matter the age that you are training in an environment that is safe, healthy, and happy at the end of the day. That's strictly all I care about. Uh, my superpower kind of in figure skating as well as being a chameleon, like singles, pairs, and ice dance and skating with another partner. But I also feel that in my coaching as well, that whatever you desire to get out of in your goals in this sport, I can morph my coaching and guiding to your needs. You want to compete? Okay, this is what it takes. And we will train tough and um, kind of give what I got when I was competing. But if you want to have fun and you just want to test out, that's fine as well. You just want to do dance, you just want to learn skating skills, we will do that.
That's great to be well-rounded like that, and I'm sure your experience kind of helped shape that, knowing like, you there's probably times where you wish that you had that choice to, you know, have a little more fun with it than just be, so serious and so intense all the time.
Yeah, I definitely wish I had a little bit more of that, especially at the end of my career, because I when I decided to retire, I did not want to, but I felt it was what was best for me. And I will say the parts of my figure skating that were very happy and thriving were with coaches that gave you that energy that you could just tell. I mean, I'll even say it. Like I adore Nick Traxler. He lives in Texas or Pasquale Carmelingo. He's taken so many ice dancers to the Olympics, and as a choreographer, they're just happy. They're happy to be there. They inspire. They encourage, and that's the type of coach that I also inspire to be.
I do want to transition into talking a little bit more about your coaching and training. Skills with Hills, great name, by the way. That's awesome. Is coaching something that you saw during your career as a potential future for you, or is that something that you did retire, you wanted to do something, and you kind of found that that's what you wanted to do?
I couldn't really see past my competitive career when I was in it. I never was able to see like a future without competitive figure skating until I was completely out of it. And it was just something that I was already doing coaching while I was competing, just to make some extra money and to help out with whatever skate academy was at that rink. And when I came back to Texas, because I was previously training in Florida, just to make some extra money and to stay on the ice, that was coaching, and it gradually, very gradually, kept warming up to me, and I kept finding more of like my voice through coaching, and then it became more of a passion, and a really great one.
What do you enjoy most about still being connected to, figure skating and skating in general, from a coach's role?
Yeah. Well, so I'm a very sentimental person, and so when I'm teaching um, whoever, and it's usually kids, and sometimes I do have adults, it's that I just want to give them the best experience possible and more. My career wasn't like that, I would say. And so I just want to make sure that I give them the best and more and, give them, I don't know, every opportunity to find something that they love.
That's great. I want to talk about kind of figure skating in comparison to hockey and how one can kind of help the other. I know that there's plenty of NHL players that kind of go through, they learn not necessarily full on like figure skating, but like the technique and different balancing and stuff. How can what you teach of figure skating help a hockey player?
Yeah, so a lot of figure skating coaches, when they do help hockey players, they're teaching them the very basics and foundation of skating skills. Just transitions from forwards, backwards to forwards, edge quality, controlling your upper body, and isolating that from your lower half. Because honestly, no matter if you're doing figure skating or hockey, up here and down there, they have two different jobs. If you're doing hockey, you are focusing on the stick and the puck and everything else in the game. And then your feet, it should be just automatic. And that's what I teach. Um, in my lessons, they're working on footwork, they're working on edge work, control, and the hope is that they just build this muscle memory so that when it comes to a tournament, it is second nature to them.
I never thought of it that way, and that makes total sense. I played hockey for 15 years and never thought of it as like upper half, lower half. And it is true. It's like the legs always have to keep moving, and you're focused more on what you're doing upper body. But to like break it down like that, I can see how that could totally be beneficial. Let's get into the Stars and the Dallas Stars Ice Girl job. How did you end up with that in the first place? How did that kind of get your attention as something that you might want to do?
You know, I never really admitted this before, but I had heard about the Dallas Stars having like this ice girl team. I had some alumni friends that were figure skaters that became ice girls, and I had zero interest in it. All I knew was compete, 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 and I've only been in a team of two people, and that was, the opposite gender of me. Um, And I also didn't know much about what the team entailed and what they did at games or out of games as well. But I had this friend when I was coaching when I came back to Texas, and she was an ice girl. She was like on her fifth year, I want to say, and she's like, "We need skaters, and you should try out, and you'd have so much fun." And I was like, I don't know. So she just handed me like this auditions outfit for pro cheer, and she's like, make a program, put it on, take a video. And that was prelims. That's the very first step in the Ice Girl auditions. I ate it on my first take of it, and then so you have toe picks, and I'm so used to using them to kind of transition and dance on the ice. That's what figure skaters use them for, jumps. And the second take was good. And then I got to semifinals, and that's in person. And it felt like I was in the DCC or Abby Lee dance. I was like very intimidated by everything. Um, but I just kept going, and then I made it to finals, and I got to meet all of these girls, and I got to make some friends out of them. And I actually do remember when I was submitting my audition, and I just had this like sense of, holy, I'm moving on from the competitive figure skating, like that life that I knew, and I definitely shed a tear or many, because it was like I was finally saying goodbye to it and taking a really big step in the direction of like my future. And then when it was finals week and it was that day that they announced the team, there's really great photos of me sobbing. This whenever looks back, and then 4 years later now, um, we're going into our next playoffs.
That's great. And I mean, like I said, I told you before we got on that I had Ray Danielle, who's a huge Stars fan, is at every single game, and just the atmosphere at American Airlines looks incredible. I'm a Bruins fan, and it's very intense and it's great. Um, Well, like looking at the American Airlines for Stars games, I'm like, that looks like an awesome environment. What's it like kind of being out on the ice and looking out and seeing all that green and black and just everyone going absolutely nuts?
I'm so not gonna lie to you. I mean, I feel the energy when I'm off the ice or on the platform dancing. Um, and it's great. There's like a mixture of rowdiness, of cheers, of happiness, of just like this guttural feeling that you want your team to win and everyone around you wants the same. So it already puts you like, you know, you're in the same shoes as everyone else. But when I'm on the ice, I kind of just like focus on my own stuff. Or if I do have a friend, I love when they distract me because I do feel a little awkward like looking at people's faces unless I see like a camera that will take action shots of us. But to answer your question, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
When we're going into like overtime or there was just a really great fight that happened on the ice, the energy is incredible and you really feel like you're part of the Dallas Stars team and what you're doing really matters and you're not just a fan, but you're what makes the team better.
No, yeah, that's great.
You get to
I
be a
want to talk about. I didn't put it on the list, but hopefully the Stars won't get mad at me for asking this. But you and the shoveling the ice and in between the breaks, what is that like? What's that like? I mean, is it by the time you get to the end of the ice, is it does it feel like heavy, like you're shoveling snow, or is it just pushing it along?
Yeah, so we have 3 periods and we will go out 3 times. And so when there's like a stoppage in the game, we will go under the 14, the 10, and the 6 mark. Sometimes it can go past like 14 minutes and just keep going down because there is no break. And so there have been times where well, the rest of me and the girls will go out at like 7 minutes and it's heavy. I mean, it is, and it depends on the ice as well and the snow, and the climate that's outside. But if it's clumped together and it's just heavy and it's been shaved by, you know, all the players on the ice, like you could be pushing 50 pounds or more. And I have been horizontal to the ice before.
I could totally see that, and it's something I didn't think of until I was like the last couple days and getting ready for this, and I was like, I saw the picture that I have of you that you're pushing the snow, and I was like, I wonder how like much of a variance there is at the different times you go out. Like, there's probably sometimes you go out there and it's like, oh, this is nothing. This is just pushing it along. But then other times it's like you're shoveling like a New England snowstorm.
Yes, no, that's the best way to put it, as someone who's lived there too. Yeah. And then my war cry comes out, and then the girls behind you, if there are girls, they're like cheering for you. And I'll say, if you do get to go to a Stars game and you watch the Ice Girls, we have very specific positions. We have a very specific routine that we do, and the girl that is on the wall to the players bench, because they stop so much get on get off, there's a lot of
Hmm.
that builds up. That position is super fun and one of my favorites, but it can kick your butt. It can kick your butt so bad that I've wanted to get off the ice before and be like, never mind.
Yeah. It's too funny. In Boston, we don't have ice girls. We have a bunch of middle-aged men in tracksuits out there. But it is impressive to watch kind of the formation of, like the lanes splitting down the ice, and everybody has a job, and then there's the guy who's, scooping it into a barrel or whatever, however you do it. But it is like a whole nother kind of like choreographed thing. It's not, you're not just out there, everybody shoveling on their own and figuring it out. It's like there's definitely a method to it, which is impressive.
Yes, I will say that we've been complimented um, quite well, and that's huge coming from like the league or the Dallas Stars, and our pattern is very meticulous. We work really hard on it. And I'll tell you, some of those girls that are on the ice, they are originally dancers that learned how to to skate, not only going down and back in under 2 minutes. We have to complete this in under 2 minutes. Um, but pushing a, pretty heavy pile of snow. We angle our plows a certain way, and there's overlapping so that when we get off, there are no lines, there are no snowballs. We've completely taken that top sheet of snow and ice off so that the puck can move slowly, or the puck can move easily across the ice.
Do you ever get any of the players trying to get you to leave some snow in certain areas? Like Ottinger ever want you to leave some snow in the crease or anything like that?
No, but you know what? There are times where he'll look at the net a little and just clear, make sure that it's sparkly clean. And our girls do a really great job of that. No,
Because that used to be something that goalies would get in trouble for. Like, they'd be scuffing it up and trying to like pack snow on the side of the goal and try and kind of get an advantage that way. I feel like that's been eliminated with like the ice girls and different kind of surface, people going out and clearing it more frequently than it used to be. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if a goalie was trying to, maybe not at a high standing franchise like Dallas, but maybe at some of the other franchises, they'll try and pull some shady stuff like that.
I can't speak for them, but I know the girls that are on those two positions at the Nets. We have a very specific routine and protocol to ensure that each crevice of the net and outer part of it, it's completely cleaned.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's great. What has kind of your whole journey kind of taught you just in life? You've, like you said, you've lived, uh, you know, that full career, and now you're doing, a couple of different ventures now. What have you kind of learned through all of this?
I would say that you gotta choose. There's so many decisions, and you gotta make your own. I mean, it's everything you do is a risk, and I took a lot of risks in my career, and it's a trial and error sort of deal as well. I had a lot of, I don't hide it either, but I had a lot of pain in my career, both physically and mentally. I don't regret anything that I did or the decisions that I made, because then I wouldn't have found out what that would have looked like. Um, Time never stops, and you're always thinking, oh gosh, like you said in the beginning, there is like a timer in an athlete's competitive career, and that's what makes all those decisions much scary. You have so much to lose, but um I look back on my life as a whole, as when I started, singles, pairs, ice dance, retired an ice girl. I've learned so much that I wouldn't have learned had I lived a more orthodox life and gone to public school and college on campus. I did that online and got my degree after 5 years. And I just say, like, it's your own story. You don't want to be living someone else's. You just have your own and external factors, and you just got to make the best decision with what you have. But whatever you do what you're good at and love what you do, and do it because you don't want to have any regrets. I don't have regrets. Did I wish things went a different way? 100%. But I'm very grateful and blessed and honored with what lessons I've learned, and now what I get to carry into my life now as a coach, as a Dallas Stars ice girl. Um, I feel very blessed that I came out of the figure skating world as a whole person and as someone who still gets to coach and be on the ice, um, and really walk away from it in many ways that I don't think others have been able to. And I've built my life now, um, by my, like, I did it. And I did have the support of like my parents and my friends and my family and my boyfriend, but um, there, I'm gonna cry. But there's
That's okay.
something really amazing about taking all of that and and going into your like next part of life and being fulfilled. So
That's a probably one of the best answers I've ever got on the show, and great advice as well. That's truly I'm so happy for you to have kind of had the career you did and be able to transition into some other things that are super fulfilling and super just, showcase your skills and what you have to offer. I think that's great. I do have another question that kind of popped in my head on the Stars Ice Girls. Was there ever is there ever any moment where the intrusive thoughts come to you where you're like, I just want to bust a triple axle while I'm out here with the shovel in my hand? Does that ever pop in your head, or are you just like that focused on getting the job done?
yeah. I mean I definitely wish I could, bust out a trick and be like, you know what I used to do, but no.
I'm not saying do it. I'm wondering if that has ever crossed your mind.
Yeah, I wish there were more moments where like we had like a separate show for us, like our yes, the Dallas Stars, but then there's us. No, but
I don't.
we have a lot of opportunity where like we've got to grow and have the spotlight on us. But yeah, I wish I could do triple axel.
That'd be incredible right there at center ice. I think the place would go nuts. So if anyone at the Stars ends up watching this, that's my input as somebody who is frequents hockey games and would love to see that as some intermission entertainment. Let the Ice Girls show what they can do.
That would be very cool. I hope someday in the future that the league will, create more time out of, you know, the 20 minutes that are taken out in the intermissions.
What is a song that has come out since you retired from figure skating competitively that you would have loved to have done a routine to, if there is one?
It's a really good question. Actually, it's I can't remember the name of it and I probably could. It's like a slower, very instrumental piece. I probably could find it if you wanted me to. It's very emotional. Um, and I feel like I could share a story through it. I think I was gonna compete with it with a Belarusian boy, um, but it ended up not working. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was thinking, I feel like, and maybe I just remember it differently, but I feel like the way that the music was selected, at least in this past Olympics, it seemed like it was a little bit different than years past, where it seemed like not as like buttoned up and not that the skating was any less, but it just seemed like there was less kind of like restrictions on what they were able to play for music and kind of how they performed. It just seemed a little different.
Yeah, I mean, I will say in past Olympics and just, the years prior, there was a lot of classical music and very traditional. You try to appease to the judges as much as you can. And, when I was competing, I got to pick out like 3 or 4 songs and show it to my coaches, and they had to be like, the judges also have to like it too. But what I really like about this new generation is that they're like, I want to skate to this. And actually, a friend of mine, Jimmy Ma, he he's one of my best friends and a really great figure skater out of Skating Club of Boston. But he actually skated to Turn Down for What by DJ Snake. One of the best performances you will ever watch, and you need to watch it on
I
YouTube.
will look that up for sure.
DJ Snake actually tweeted about it. I love that Alyssa and Amber skated to Madonna and Lady Gaga. Like, that's what it needed. There just needs to be a little bit more of like a modern flair. And like you said, they got to show off their personality. I mean, Amber's program, T.
It was incredible.
Is it
Skating Club, Skating Club of Boston's like 5 minutes from where I am right now.
really? Yeah,
It's
there.
what's that?
My old coaches, Alexei and Olga, are there.
Awesome. Yeah, it's I didn't realize how kind of much of a hub it was for, the US team and everything. So that's really cool. Yeah, it's right down the street.
What's interesting is that Skating Club of Boston was big. But when Alexei and Olga, they are a married couple training team, they were from Dallas. They were in Plano, like 10 minutes from me. And then they came to Boston for more opportunity. And I heard, I haven't been there, but they have a magnificent training facility.
Hmm. Yeah, that's what I've heard. I don't think I might have played hockey there when I was younger, but um, yeah, it's right down the road. Um, Hillary, this has been so much fun getting to know you and your journey and just learning more about figure skating and the Ice Girls. I wish you all the luck, skills with Hills. But why don't you tell people where they can find you on social media or just if they want to get some lessons or some instruction from you?
100%. My skills, it's Skills with Hills, with just S's, Skills with Hills, Hills. My name has one L, but if you looked up Hilary Asher, I think you'd find me immediately. It's like hills.ash. I have TikTok as well, and you might see a surprise on there. That just kind of shows my silly personality. Um, but yeah, I'm continuing to build more of my presence with Skills with Hills. This is more of like a fun project that I'm trying to build, and I will be posting educational videos, and that is figure skating and hockey. And take a look at it, and if follow, give me a follow and I'll just keep recurring on your page.
It's worth a follow for sure, especially the TikTok. The TikTok is definitely showing a little bit of your personality, so definitely check that out.
Use Google Translate.
Okay, I won't. I won't. Hillary, thank you so much. We'll do this again.
Thank you for having me. Absolutely.